So, let's go ahead and get started. So, first thing I got to express with air tools is we're using compressed air. Compressed air, we do not want direct skin contact with compressed air. Now, there will be, from time to time, you'll be drying something off with a blowgun. Maybe you're holding on to it. A little bit, you know, if you get a little bit of air on yourself, not a big deal, but we don't want any direct skin contact. You actually could introduce air into your bloodstream, and that is a very bad deal. So we do want to be respectful of the air and how we use it. Now, I guess the first thing I'm going to show you is how to attach it to an air hose and detach it from an air hose. Some of you, this may be very familiar with this, very simple operation. Others, maybe you've never done this. So on our air hoses, we have a collar on the coupler, and then all of our air tools can pop right in there. This will hold them attached. Same deal. When we go to remove it, we got to pull the collar back, and we can remove the air tools. Very simple. But with that being said, I also see a lot of students that will struggle with these from time to time, especially if you're not familiar with it. So that is how we attach the air tools. This is a standard blowgun for blowing off many different things. We'll use this to clean debris out of machines, radiators, engine bay areas. Maybe you get done cleaning some parts of the solvent tank, we'll dry them off with this. This is not to clean ourselves. This is not to cool yourself off and spray yourself down. Okay, so we want to be aware. This is not to get things moving and build or have some sort of projectile by air movement. Okay, so we're going to use this in a sensible manner. The next thing I'm going to talk about will be impacts, because this will probably be our most popular or common air tool we're going to use in here. This is a 1/2-inch drive impact, and the reason we call it a 1/2-inch drive is because the drive on the end of it is 1/2 inch in diameter. Very simple impact. On the back here we have a dial. This dial can allow us to select how much power this impact will have. Okay, and then we got a couple of buttons here. These buttons here allow it to change direction, whether it's going to go clockwise or counterclockwise. And then actually a trigger on the front of it that turns it on and off. Okay, very simple device, not difficult to use. I'm sure many of you have used these before. 1/2-inch drive impact. We have several 1/2-inch drive impacts, and most of them work in the same manner, same deal. We got a dial on this one for power selection, and then a couple of buttons for the direction that it's going to go. We can also step it up to a 3/4 impact. You notice that this one is larger, it has a larger drive on it. Everything else is the same. We will use these quite often. Now when it comes to impacts, one thing we got to talk about is the sockets and the different extensions and so forth that will go on there. Typically speaking, black sockets are impact sockets. Typically speaking, not always. I have two sockets here. Obviously, they are both black. I'm going to pass them around so you can see this, but one thing we need to take into account is one socket has two ribs or lines on it down here. This is not an impact socket. This socket here that has no lines on it is an impact socket. And if you look closely at me, we can tell that there's a significant difference in the wall thickness. We do not want to use non-impact sockets on the impacts. Our chrome sockets in here are not impact sockets. So it makes a difference. These are stronger, they're thicker, they will hold up to the abuse better. Okay? So I'm going to pass these around so you can get a look at it. Take into note the wall thickness and then obviously the lines around here. That'll be an indication to be able to identify the socket. Same thing with our extensions. We'll have some black anodized extensions in here. Those are impact approved extensions. We also have chrome extensions in here. Those are not. So we will be using the impact sockets when we're using impacts. Now, one more thing I'm going to talk about. Is anybody know what this is? Air hammer, air chisel. Okay. Works very well for a lot of things. This is very much like a handheld jackhammer. Any of you have seen construction workers on the road running a jackhammer? This is very similar to that. It's just a much smaller version of this. We can put lots of different chisel bits in this for cutting and driving different things out. Now, whenever we're using something like this, the potential to have flying objects is very, very great. Maybe something you're air chiseling on breaks loose and becomes a projectile. Maybe the end of the tip breaks off, becomes a projectile. We want to have all of our safety gear on. Very good tool, works very, very well, but there is a certain amount of danger that is presented when using this. We have an on-off trigger right here, and then a knob by the trigger that we can select how much power this is going to have. Once again, we have various different bits that can go in this that are in the tool room. So, our air chisel. We also have a few different sanders that are air powered. We don't use these too often in here, but we do have them, so we're going to talk on them briefly. Very simple machine to use. It's got a trigger on it that allows us to turn it on and off. Other than that, it's quite simple. It spins, same deal. We're going to want to wear our safety gear because this is spinning. We can have the potential for flying projectiles. One thing that tends to happen with these a lot is the sandpaper comes off. Okay, not the end of the world, but it comes off of there at full speed and contacts naked skin. It can cut you. Is it going to cut your arm off? Probably not. But cut you to the point that it's going to be uncomfortable and you'll have to deal with a wound? Absolutely. So, different sanders. We do have a few other air tools in there that we use from time to time, but these are our most common. Okay? Any questions on our air tools?